Hi, welcome to 2020 Tasty Treats with GourmetQuilter. I'm Susan Clare, GourmetQuilter, and we're doing a series on applique dogs this time. We've been having a whole lot of fun this year with all sorts of different series. So these are the dogs that we're doing. There's 20 different dogs altogether. We've already done 3, so we're well on the way. We have this nice little dog gallery up there. There's a pattern available through GourmetQuilter.com. It's a downloadable pattern, so each day for 20 days there's a pattern to download, there's a video, and there'll be 20 dogs. So we are up to dog number 4. So the pattern is all ready for tracing for the applique. I'm using fusible applique, so it's a fused raw edge style that I'm doing. Everything is numbered so that there's some idea of what order they go down in, or at least the ones that get underlapped and overlapped. Also on this particular one, I'll just mention here, there's a funny little scoopy mark here, and we kind of need to mark that. If you've seen the earlier videos, you'll have seen me using the light box to help me trace markings through. So on my pattern piece, this is the paper that I've peeled off the back, we need to mark that on the fabric, because when we pop his little, what looks like a moustache on, his muzzle, we need to be able to stitch that, because it's like a little stitching line for his sort of chin. So that is part of the pattern. So, and I'm going to applique his nose this time, but I have already gone ahead and I've marked his eyes using a permanent marking pen. And I use the light box to help me see where to put all that. So we can pop these little ears in behind. They go pretty much on the top of his head to the sides. So that kind of comes out there. And this one, so any markings that need to be marked on for stitching, I've done already. There's a couple of little bits on the ears, and we can pop this little nose piece on next, I think. And because we've got this little scoopy mark here for his chin, we can see pretty much where that goes. Probably about there, I think. And also we've got a nose to go on. I'm going to applique the nose this time, and that just sits right at the top of that little bit of the muzzle there. And then he's got these wonderful eyebrows. And just kind of just overlap over to the outside edge a little bit. So they do seem fairly small, some of these pieces, but because we're ironing them on, they're not so very hard to stitch in place, because they stay there when you've ironed them in place. So there he is. I think he's looking pretty good. And we just iron him in place. And we'll pop some stabilizer behind because of the free motion stitching, so that it doesn't all scrunch up. So I've set the machine up with a little open toe free motion foot. I've got a dark grey thread in there, and we just need to do some stitching now. So I think I'm going to do this nose, this wonderful muzzle area. So I'm going to start at the nose, and I'm just going to come around all this light area here. And the dark stitching just helps things stand out a little bit more as well. Just going to snip my thread away. So I'm just going to do that little chin line now as well, if we don't forget it. And then I can come up here and go right around his actual nose. So I think that's looking pretty good. So I think the rest of it's fairly straightforward. I'm going to come around his neck and then come up around his head and his ears, and then there's just going to be those little eyebrows to do. So I'll go ahead and do some more and then show you when I'm a little bit nearer the end. So I'm just onto this second eyebrow. They're quite magnificent, these eyebrows. So probably a little bit, maybe a little bit fiddly in the way that it's a small shape. However, if you just take your time, it's really not so bad, and I think he's actually looking quite pleased with life. So we'll give him a little press, and we'll pop him up in the gallery with his friends up here. He'll be quite pleased to be up here, I think. Yeah, I think he does feel that he perhaps knows a thing or two, possibly a little bit wise, so he probably thinks maybe he's going to start keeping them all in line. So that was applique number 4. I'll see you again with applique number 5.